Should the United States buy Greenland? More importantly, can we buy Greenland? NBC News has confirmed that President Trump floated the idea of buying Greenland, an autonomous country, which is part of the Kingdom of Denmark. The Wall Street Journal adds, in meetings, at dinners, and in passing conversations, Mr. Trump has asked advisors whether the U.S. can acquire Greenland. And according to two of the people, has asked his White House counsel to look into the idea. Well, Greenland's foreign ministry heard about the entire idea, and they tweeted back, Greenland is open for business, not for sale. Let's bring in Michael Crowley, New York Times White House correspondent covering foreign policy. Back with us, Tiffany Cross, co-founder, managing editor of The Beat. Michael, was this for real? Do you really think that they were seriously considering buying Greenland?
You know, I think that in this administration, when people say there's no way they were seriously considering this, you know, we can't say, no, it's not possible. No one could possibly be serious about this. I mean, President Trump goes to places where no one has gone. And, yeah, I think that probably, look, I don't think the process really formally started. The Washington Post is reporting that some aides were tasked to find out more about it. This would be a long, involved process. It would probably involve Congress and appropriating money. So I think it was in the earliest stages of seriousness. But I have to say, you know, I don't think it was just the president kind of making a joke at a dinner to crack people up. It sounds like he really thinks that there could be potential here down the road. And in fact, you know, something interesting that I've learned from good coverage of this is that the United States government, including specifically the Truman administration, has actually explored this idea before. So, you know, the more you learn about it, it seems a little less crazy. But I got to say, I don't see this happening anytime soon, if ever.
The Truman administration reportedly at the time offered $100 million for Greenland. And we did buy Alaska. I mean, this wouldn't be completely unprecedented, I guess, Tiffany. But what does it say? What message does it send, perhaps, to our allies and our foes even around the world about America's interests?
You know, I'm a little concerned when I hear a descendant of colonizers talk about taking land from indigenous people. You know, like the Inuit people have been there for centuries, and we're very flimsily talking about taking their autonomous land. And I don't know if you remember in May 2018, Donald Trump talked about, you know, white settlers who came here and tamed a continent. So we kind of know how he feels and views this space. So I think that's of concern, particularly for the people there. And I wonder, you know, this is something, you know, his supporters are like just blind followers of his. And I just wonder when this becomes a talking point of his on the campaign trail, can anybody at the MAGA rally point out Greenland on a map? I would be very interested and curious to see, or tell us what kind of government Greenland is, or who the indigenous people are. I highly doubt it. So I think when you have such a lack of understanding of global diplomacy, you can easily throw out these asinine ideas and have, you know, the sheep following the wolf.
But Michael, do you think this is one of those situations where also, and we've heard that this happens in this White House from time to time, where the president will float an idea and the folks in the room listen to the president and they leave the room and they basically laugh about the idea and it's never followed up on? Do you think this is one of those situations, or do you think that, you know, White House counsel actually made some calls and did some legitimate inquiry?
Here's why I think it's possible it was a little less than a total joke, because the Trump administration and national security officials predating the Trump administration have taken a great interest in the Arctic and the idea that there's a growing strategic great power competition in that icy, although increasingly melting, and that's part of the story, part of the world. So the competition with China and with Russia. China wanted to build, I believe, some airfields in Greenland that Defense Secretary Jim Mattis was very concerned about. Now, I don't think Mattis was saying we should buy Greenland. But the reason I think people might, you know, kind of take a second thought and have a conversation about this is because it's not just like some big piece of land and no one knows where it is and it's all kind of ridiculous. There is this sort of strategic component. Having said all that, again, I really don't think this is something that's likely to go forward. But Greenland actually does have a strategic significance that makes it interesting to talk about.
Michael, thank you. Tiffany Cross, thank you. And by the way, yes, Greenland is that big.